Hi, my name is Megan Christian, and this is my presentation on leadership from the book The Servant, a simple story about the true essence of leadership by James C. Hunt. So what I'll be talking about today, my presentation is Power versus Authority, which is from Chapter 1, Paradigms, which is from Chapter 2, and Nurturing a Relationship, which is from Chapter 5. So first, talking about power versus authority. According to the book, the definition of power is the ability to force or coerce someone to do your will, even if they would choose not to, because of your position or your might. Also, according to the book, authority is the skill of getting people to willingly do your will because of your personal influence. And thinking about it in the workforce, what kind of people do we have? I think we have three types of people. We have the people who are in power, the people who have authority, and the people who are in power and have authority. So the people in power, I think of the people who you're kind of scared to go to. You're not entirely sure what's going to happen if there's something that goes on, maybe a negative consequence. So you don't feel like you can go and talk to those people. You also feel scared that if you don't do something that they ask of you, that something bad will happen. And those are the people who, are your supervisors, your bosses, or the leaders. Then you have the people who have authority. So those are people who can be friends, co-workers, kind of anybody that you feel confident and comfortable around, that you can go to them if something were to arise in the workplace, and you're actually willing to do things when they actually ask you to do them. Then you have the people who are in power, like your leaders, your supervisors, and your bosses, and they have authority, which I think is huge. I don't think that you see this very often in leaders like your supervisors and bosses, but I think this is the best for the workplace because, they are your supervisors and your bosses, and you should feel like you can go to them with anything if a situation were to arise, and you should feel comfortable around them and not necessarily scared. Moving on to paradigms. According to the book, paradigms are psychological patterns, models, or maps we use to navigate our way through life. So there's kind of two types. There's old paradigms and the new paradigms. A lot of people are kind of stuck with their paradigms, their beliefs. They don't want to change them. They don't necessarily know if that'll be the best thing. However, when you sit here and you look at the healthcare field, it's vastly changing, and we want to make things better and easier for our patients. So when you think about and change your old paradigms, you make new paradigms, which can be in the best interest of your patient, your coworkers, your employees, kind of everybody. And I saw a quote that kind of reminded me of this, which is "Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change," by Wayne Dyer. And this quote kind of stood out to me because, you're looking at those paradigms wondering, should I change them, should I not? However, when you do change them, something bigger and better can come out of them. So I came up with a sample paradigm here of my normal workplace, and it's a surgery paradigm. So some of the old paradigms are a length of surgery, which used to be longer, the techniques of surgery, which would cause longer recovery time and more risk of infection. People thought about it and thought, how can we change this? So they came up with new paradigms, which is length of surgery, which is shorter, technology, which has helped the surgery be shorter, making new techniques for surgery, which makes a shorter recovery time and less risk of nurturing a relationship. So in the book they talk about a garden concept, and it talks about how there's a seed, and you can't change the seed. However, you can nourish it and guide it. The seed will do whatever it wants to do, but you can sit here and you can water it, and you can guide it, and you can be there for it, giving it enough sunlight and compost, kind of doing the things if it needs help. Just kind of like people in the workplace and anybody, you sit here and you can't change people. However, you can sit here and you can nourish them and guide them to becoming bigger and better people. And that's kind of flourishing relationships. You can't sit here and think that it's going to happen overnight. Just like that seed, it doesn't turn into big, beautiful, vibrant fruit overnight. It takes time. That fruit can take weeks, months, to become that big, beautiful fruit that you can finally pick and eat. Just like people, you can't change them. It doesn't happen overnight. So sitting here thinking about it, you can't think that it's going to happen overnight. It can take weeks, months, years for that person to kind of change and become a bigger and better person, but you can be there for that person that whole time and nourish them and guide them. as much as they need. And a quote that I kind of found was, incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. And that's by Steve Maraboli. So I like this quote because what it talks about is it talks about those seeds or those people. You don't have control over them. However, you do have control over how you approach them and how you deal with them. So it's just the same thing. You can sit here and you can nourish them and guide them into becoming bigger and better people, but you cannot change them on your own. So in conclusion, there's power and authority, which I think is the best for the workplace, because you have those leaders who sit here and you can go to with anything if a situation were to arise within the workplace, and you know that not necessarily a negative consequence will come out of that, or feel like you're scared. And old and new paradigms, looking at those old paradigms becoming new paradigms, thinking what you can change to make the lives of your patients and employees better. And flourishing relationships. Remember, you can't change people, but you can help them change and become a better person by nourishing them and guiding them for as long as it takes to become that bigger and better person.